Santos rides a hero bold, in the shadows lurking, but his heart pure gold. Fighting crime and chaos in his custom patrol car. Every night danger's lights shine like a star. They call him Danger for his daring stance, with a heart full of hope and a will to advance. He's the shield for the weak and the brave in the night. In the wild streets of Los Santos, he's the fearless knight.
Welcome, everyone, to the Submersive Podcast. I am your host, Kyle Danger, and we are joined by my co-host, Mindless Kills. You can find all of our information on Twitch. You can find him at Mindless Kills on Twitch, and you can find mine at Lord_Commander_Jorgen on Twitch, where you are viewing right now. Down below on my About Me, you can find the Submersive Podcast YouTube channel, which will be, as soon as we're done with this stream, it'll be uploaded on there. And everything is about to happen. So here we are. This is the Submersive Podcast. We are doing this for our gaming community, which is originally Submersive Roleplay and is now Submersive Gaming. Originally we were a FiveM community, and now we are a full-blown gaming community with 200 to 300 plus members, and we are going to actually be inviting some of them to join us live on future podcasts. So Mindless here is one of those members. He is actually a family member of mine, and he is now my co-host for this great podcast.
Oh yeah, I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, I am very excited, man. This is one of those things that I've been wanting to start for a really long time, and we just now have actually been able to do it. So here we are. Submersive Podcast being streamed live on Twitch.
It's been busy lately, though, since the city shut down.
Yeah, we have done quite a bit, honestly. We have rebuilt our Twitch channels so where we can stream again. We've been playing games. We've been working as well away from doing all this stuff. So it's been a mess, but we are getting through it.
But we're back.
Yeah, we are back, and we are fucking excited. So basically what we're going to be covering today is what the podcast is going to be about and what we'll be doing during the podcasting, because I know some of you guys are probably not even sure exactly why we're doing a podcast, but we're going to go over what the podcast is about and why we have started this podcast. We're also going to be going over plans for the future, like who's going to be guests, what we're going to be doing for content, and how we're going to be making content. We might even play some games, not obviously on the computer games, but we'll play some like games between ourselves. That way we can have a good time while we're doing the podcast. And we'll also cover a little bit about when the podcast is going to be created, when it's going to be uploaded, so you guys can watch live, and you can watch on YouTube if you don't catch us live. That way you can listen to us and you can catch everything while we do it. So here we are. Basically, the first thing I want to get into is the reason why we created the Submersive Podcast. And I talked a lot about this with Mindless because I personally was super excited to come up with the idea. I've been listening to a ton of podcasts over the past 9 months, and I really enjoy like the camaraderie in it, the bonding, the getting interactive with people again, which we did a lot during when we were playing FiveM and we were role-playing. But now that we're out of the role-play scene, we don't do it as much. We're not as in touch with our community. We're not as in touch with friends that we used to talk to all the time. And we want to get more connected with our community. So we're going to do a podcast where we do just that. We are going to go through and we're going to invite people and we're going to talk to people again. And we're going to discuss with them basically FiveM, what games they enjoy, and a lot of things like that. I know that personally, I've been playing a lot of different games because I've stepped away from FiveM and the role-playing. So for that, it's a big change for me. I mostly spent the last 5 to 6 years doing only role-play gaming. I streamed some stuff every now and then that wasn't quite roleplay, but mostly I played Kyle Danger and my other characters in the roleplay setting. And I know Mindless, he had several characters that he played consistently. So we are going to be discussing a little bit about FiveM during our podcast, and we are also going to be going over other topics about why this podcast is happening. But as Submersive has changed, we've been gone from Submersive Roleplay to now we are only Submersive Gaming. So we don't have a FiveM city anymore. We don't have the ability to go in and roleplay with people. So it's, I don't want to say debilitating for us, but it doesn't give us that outreach to connect with the people who we enjoy playing with anymore. I mean, a few of us here and there still connect and play. I know I play with Assassin Hero, and we call him Luke Stevens because he played a character in our GTRP city. And I got a buddy named Tanner, and he's really awesome. I just haven't had the time to connect and play with him as much anymore. But we're going to get in and we're going to talk with a lot of people. I know I got friends like Squishy McGee, Lathana, Leo Shea, known as Foster. We also have Thomas Ramble I want to talk to,
Yep.
Coffee, Demon. We have a
Sam.
plethora of people. Yeah, Sam, Mr. Scorantino, we're going to throw a bunch of shout-outs to names here. We have a ton of people who we want to get back in touch with, and we want to talk to and play games with again and interact with them.
Yes, sir.
On ways that we don't do it anymore. So we're going to create this podcast in the hopes that we can bring our community much closer together again. Because we have split off and not a lot of people know that we're even gaming anymore. I mean, I personally stepped away for the most part in, I think, July of last year when I started rebuilding the FiveM server, and I was getting with my now fiance, and I just didn't really play the games as much anymore. I worked on our city, I did all the coding and designing and building of it, but I never actually sat down to play it as much. And I know that a lot of my community members didn't get to get in contact with me while I was in the city, so we just didn't get a link, and we didn't get to have fun, and we didn't get to play games anymore. But now we're going to actually have the time to sit down and talk with people again and bring this stuff back together. So we're going to get people in here, we're going to get them talking about FiveM and all of the fun characters that they got to play as, and do all of the things that we didn't really get to do in the city, like talk to each other outside of roleplay, because when you're in character, you're in character. You can't really break it to sit around and talk with your buddies or do this
Right.
and that. So it's going to be actually interesting to sit down and get to know people on a personal level and tell personal stories and learn about their characters and why they were created, or just to have a good time with people that we enjoyed playing video games with. So that's going to be something I'm looking forward to.
Yes, sir.
A lot of what gave us the idea from me personally is that being a podcast, we can actually sit down and record these to give an idea to people who view it in our community, what we do on a day-to-day, what we're continuing to do in our lives for playing video games and getting on Discord every day and being able to talk to people. So I'm really excited to introduce some of them to this idea that I've come up with over the past month, and we are now starting. So that's going to be exciting, and once we actually produce it, we're going to be sending out links to people and posting them in the Discord. That way people can check it out and then see if they like it, and then we're going to be sending DMs to a lot of our community members to get people into it and get people excited, so that way we can bring some of that excitement back for the people. Because I know, like I said, I haven't talked to so many people that I used to play FiveM with, and I really want to get back into being a part of that community again and interacting with people.
Yes, sir. I'm actually excited to be here for the ride, honestly, more than anything. I want to take a walk back down memory lane, back to the old FiveM days, talk to the people behind some of the crazy characters that we got to interact with.
So many good characters too.
Right?
Man, we had so much fun playing with Lathana, who played Edna, and she had one of the craziest storylines ever. She started as some random old lady when she came in. One of the few females in our city that actually stuck around, just because it was not a relatively small city, but it was small, and we didn't really get a lot of female players in that stuck around consistently. There would be some that jumped in and they'd play for a few weeks or a month. She stayed around for years, and she caused mayhem and trouble. She
Yeah, she
was
did.
a wild card like no
Yeah.
other. It was insane. But Edna is going to actually be playing with us or coming on the podcast and hopefully playing games with us again. So we're going to get her on and we're going to talk about some of the stuff that she did and she got up to, and I'm hoping that she actually accepts our invitation and comes to hang out with us again and talk with us, because she was cool. She was one of those people that you just got. She could connect with everybody. Was super down to earth. It was a good time all around. But our plans for things that are going to be happening in the future is that, like I said, I want to get a lot of our community members on. A couple of the first people I want to bring on are people like Luke Stevens, aka Assassin Hero, Scorantino and Scorantino Studios, who makes his own animated series called Bad Dad. And I'm really excited to get on and talk with him about that and discuss how that started for him, because that's something I've watched for a long time. I don't know when
Bro,
exactly it came to me, but Bad Dad was one of those animated shows that he created, and we sat down and started watching as a group, and we would play in our community because it was something that was in our community that was community, or a member of our community basically created. So we were super excited to support him on that, and it has taken off for him. He has got thousands and thousands of views on it, and it's really cool to have someone like that doing something that they love and that they are putting their heart and soul into, and it growing in popularity like that to something that they enjoy and that they can spread amongst people and let their community enjoy. So I
right,
hope to
right.
get Scorantino on to talk to him about that. And I also want to get my boy Tanner on here, and like I said, Edna. She would be really cool, and Squishy, because those are some of those guests that we played with a lot and we had a lot of stuff to do with. And they were just major members of the community that are well known amongst everybody. As for stuff like content that we want to create, we're hoping that getting people in here and getting people talking about the FiveM community and stuff like that pushes us for people who actually enjoy playing FiveM, because over the last few years it's gone a little downhill. I know a lot of people say, oh no, it hasn't, FiveM is bigger than ever, and it is, but also a lot of places have fallen off. Like, I'm not trying to throw any shade out there, but No Pixel has really fallen off, and Prodigy RP sprung up, and Onyx basically completely fell off. Purple RP has taken off. There's ups and downs with all of it, because No Pixel was one of the biggest ones out there, and nobody can say that it's not. It was massive, thousands of thousands, hundreds of thousands of views all the time from all the streamers that were in it. And there's just so many other places that have taken off, like Rush Hour RP, and there's a ton
Dude,
of,
before I even knew what streaming was, I heard of No Pixel.
yeah, it's one of those communities out there that's just absolutely massive, especially in the FiveM space.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. They have so much going on, and they also put a ton of time and effort into working on it. They have devs that just nonstop. But we're hoping that this type of conversation adds a lot of content for showing love for the FiveM community and talking about it. Because I know, like I said, I spent the last 4 or 5 years of my life before I had finally given up and pushed it aside and made a new chapter for myself. I had given months and months of my life to it, where I played it nonstop and worked on it and learned how to code and learn how to edit and build 3D models and graphic design. And that was just stuff that I didn't know how to do before I actually started working on FiveM. So I'm really excited to see how people appreciated that. I know there's a lot of people in our community that liked what we did, and I personally loved working with them and loved working on all that stuff. So I'm excited to do some of that. And I'm hoping that some like games that we can come up with are like building a random FiveM character and giving them a backstory on the podcast. Like, us just throwing in little ideas and stuff like that, or building a spin a wheel and doing like a game show style game on it, where we spin wheels and we come up with random topics to go off of or something like that, or just come up with these crazy ideas where we can actually boost what we're doing and what we're talking about and play off of each other like we would in roleplay. Like a wheel that comes up with a scenario and what character you're going to be and what you're going to do, and sit here and pretend role play out a story of what we're going to do with each other if that scene were to happen, because that would be something interesting that we could come up with where we could role play but we wouldn't have to continue to be in the character, because that type of stuff is always interesting. And we could have a d20 or something that gives us checks for whatever we're going to do. I think that would be kind of neat. But yeah, we're looking forward to doing a lot of stuff with this community and building it up and working with a lot of people that we haven't played games with in a long time. And I'm personally really excited to talk with everybody again and see how everybody's been doing. Because it's been months since I've been in contact with a lot of them. I know Squishy was in my stream the other night, and we were talking with him. And Beat My Box came along today with this stream that happened right before this podcast, and that's really cool. I know Luke's been busy. He's been playing games and stuff. I think he's playing games right now where he's doing a lot of solo things. And there's just a lot of people that we've been in contact with, but not necessarily. And with Dogs of War and Submersive as a community, we really want to branch back out and get to talk with them.
We care about you guys a lot.
We do. We really do. That's a big reason why we created this podcast. It's because we miss you guys. We just don't get to play with y'all as much anymore. And it's something that we want to do.
And it gives us a sneak peek into everybody's lives now. There's been some... What has it been? How long has it been since Submersive's been down?
January. Before January. About Christmas time.
Around Christmas time? Yeah, a lot of stuff happens between now and then.
I know a lot of people's lives have probably changed in ways that we don't even know because we haven't talked to them. And outside of roleplay, we didn't really... we play games with other people. I know I played Lethal Company with a lot of the people that we played with in roleplay when it first came out, and I was making mod packs and stuff for us so we could all get in and play together. But there's also a lot of people that we've never really played with, and we've never really done anything outside of the roleplay community with. And it's not on a big level at least. So we're looking to get into contact with these people and get them on the podcast so that way we can basically be friends IRL while enjoying our role-play experiences and reminiscing on the nostalgia of the past, because it was a great time. Like I said, we spent years with these people. I know that I've known Luke Stevens, aka Assassin Hero, for I think 3 years now, and I've never met him in person. I've only ever played roleplay and other games with him, and it'd just be cool to get that backstory of what got him into roleplay. And I know a little bit of it, but getting it on and getting him on the podcast and sitting down and talking with him would be amazing, because it'll get his story out there and it'll get people excited for what roleplay has to bring to us. It brought us together.
Well, we've known Ellis for years now, and we've never... Yeah. He lives in Sweden.
Yeah, we know people from clean across the big water. It's one of those things where the FiveM community brings people together. It's all online.
I stay pretty... I don't know. I'd like to say I stay in touch with Ellis quite a bit. Well, I know I snap him every day, so there's that.
Yeah. He's one of those people that came in with a group, and we ended
That's
up...
my dog, though. I don't care about anybody.
We played with him a lot more because he actually enjoyed playing with us outside of the FiveM community, and a lot of his friends they weren't as into the community as he was. He actually really liked being a part of Submersive and playing in the city, and he was an admin at one point, and he's came and he's gone, and I know he's been busy, and he's got a few kids now, and he's living the life and doing things.
The life.
He's living the life and doing the things that he enjoys doing, and that's super freaking cool, man. And like I said, we love Ellis. He's the best, and he is our favorite Swede by far. Our favorite Swede.
Yes.
One of these days, I'm gonna have to get him to teach me some Swedish. That way I can sit down and have a conversation with him and throw him
Oh
off.
shit.
Might have to learn some on the side to scare him.
Learn some Swedish. And then just out of the blue, just... Oh, you know what? Learn it before you bring him on the podcast.
Oh, that'd be a good side quest. Go and learn some
Yes.
Swedish and bring him on the podcast and throw him off by talking in his native tongue.
Right?
Except he's
Let's
going to
go.
say something back to me, and I'm going to have to figure out the fuck he's saying, because I'm not going to know. I'm not going to know.
Stop you in your fucking tracks right there.
He's going to start going off, and I'm just going to be like, Oh, man. But yeah, we are looking forward to being able to talk to you guys again and talk with people from our community and get to know them a little bit better now that we're not in a roleplay scenario. And that is a big part of why, like I said, why we're starting this is we miss you guys and we don't get to talk to you anymore, and all the love is still here, but we want to get back in contact, and we want to spread the community back out to the edge of its borders where it was again. And the Discord's been up, but it's basically been dead at this point, so we're hoping to revive it a little bit too and get you guys playing games with each other and bring our community closer together.
Yes, sir.
Even though it's not Submersive Roleplay anymore, Submersive is the community, and we want to bring our community closer together.
Submersive isn't dead.
It's not dead. We're still hanging on in there. It's just not as close-knit and as big as it was before. So we're hoping that doing this, we can actually get everybody back together and get everybody talking again. Get everybody hanging out, playing games like the old days.
Hold on. I can go right over there right now, and I see people.
There's a lot of members still playing games, and I know there's
still people
several
in here playing games. There's still people in here chatting it up.
I was
And
about
the
to say, I know.
Discord so it's not dead. People are still active in it.
Yeah, they're still active. They're just not as active as they were. We used to get hundreds of messages in there every day, and now they trickle in every now and then. It's not what it used to be.
Like little waves.
I want to get it back to what it used to be. I know that for sure we still have a lot of members of our community that still play FiveM too, and they've gotten into Red M a lot. And
Yeah.
I know Luke actually got into Star Citizen because of the roleplay on it, and he's been playing a lot of Star Citizen and stuff. So who knows? Maybe we can link some people back up with some people who want to play together again, and they can branch out and play new role-playing games. I know Ball, who is my father, aka War Clown, got into playing PAX Day for a while, and he was building a community on there, and he had, I think, 30 people on there that were building a small little village, and he was building a castle, and they were doing a lot of stuff in that game where they were role-playing and trading with people across the borders of the continents they were on. So that was really cool too, and I played it a little bit and brought Danger into there. So who knows, maybe we'll get some people to throw us into some games where we can play with them again and, get on every once in a while and stuff. I'm doing a lot more solo content for sure, and playing with some of my closer friends on stuff like Blood Hunt and Rainbow Six Siege and Fortnite whenever they actually get past the season, because I'm not a big fan. But I know a lot of people are enjoying it, so I'm not going to throw any hate out there for it. And I want to get back into playing more games with my friends and doing a lot more solo content on my stream again. And that's going to be one of the big things that we're looking forward to, is being able to get back into playing games. Because I know I took a big break, and I know Mindless has just got into streaming, so we're going to try to help him grow his community through this. And like I said, go hit that guy with a follow. Mindless on Twitch, Mindless Kills. So everybody go shout him out.
I literally just finished getting everything kind of set up the way I wanted it, and I think we're going to start out on Sunday on the Siege Sunday madness. So
Heck yeah. I know that for sure I'll be there on Sunday. We'll be playing, and we're probably going to get into some Blood Hunt tonight if Juan's going to be streaming some Blood Hunt. So if you guys want to catch us there, paging Dr. Juan on Twitch, we'll be playing with him, and Mindless Kills on Twitch, and then obviously Lord_Commander_Jorgen on Twitch. So that way you guys can come find us and check us out when we play Blood Hunt games or whatever they're going to be playing. Go hit them with a follow and see what they're doing. Check them out, grow their communities, support them, show some love.
yes, sir. That's
Heck
what it's
yeah.
all about. It's all
Paging
about the
Dr.
love, the
Juan is
support.
in here. Yeah, but we are really excited, and like I said, we're trying to grow this community, and we want to get it back to where it was before, and talk with a lot of our people who we were role playing with for the longest time, because we just don't talk with them anymore, and we want to hang out with you guys and introduce you to some of the people we've met over this period of time where we've actually been working with each other, and like I said, building our streaming communities and working with new people. That way we can actually grow and love each other and support each other and make content the way we want to make content. And without FiveM, I don't do it as much anymore, because it's not that I don't want to, it's just that I haven't had any creative flow as of recently, up until now, where we decided it was time to do this podcast, and we want to actually get back in contact and start making games and start having fun times again.
Honestly, I don't think I've seen you as excited about really anything since FiveM until you mentioned something about this podcast.
Yeah, I was really excited because it lets me flow my creative juices again and be able to actually get out and talk with people who I enjoyed playing games with. And it's really exciting being able to talk with the people we don't get to talk to anymore and talk about something that I truly enjoyed, because I don't have many people to talk about it with. I mean, I talk about it with you and Ball and Slick every now and then. But there's not a lot of people who know about FiveM. It's very niche out of the people who really know about it. I know.
You was so into FiveM that you self-taught yourself how to code.
Yeah. I taught myself everything there is to know, basically, about FiveM. I had that it was literally, the world was my oyster there. I could do whatever I wanted. And we did.
You know what I'm saying? So, you self-taught yourself how to build anything. Make anything do what you wanted in FiveM.
We had people come up with some crazy ideas.
Yeah.
Oh man, we had.
And you made it happen. That was the crazy part.
I know. At one point, someone told me that we couldn't make a jetpack or a flying wingsuit, and we did both of those in the same week, because it was just one of those things where someone wanted to fly, and we made them fly.
Didn't you used to have devs and stuff that did this stuff for you, and they used to tell you stuff. Oh, that's impossible. We can't do that. We can't do that. Can't do that. And then you go along and learn how to code and make it happen. Show them that you can do it.
We had a couple of devs when we first started out that when Submersive first happened. We started with a guy that had another city that we were playing in and we were admins in, and he got to the point where he was switching what they were doing with the city so often. It was going from a QB Core server to an ESX server. Stuff was getting wiped. Stuff was getting restarted. He couldn't figure out how to get scripts to work. He would download full templates of a city that was no pixel-based cities, or just a bunch of random QB Core junk, and throwing it all in there, and stuff would be bugged. It wouldn't work. He was having issues. If he couldn't get something to work, he'd just wipe the whole city and restart, and we got tired of that. So we went and started our own city and hired our own dev, and he was charging us $250 a month to run us the most basic server there is. It had nothing.
Right.
The only cool thing we had was a handful of cars that he had downloaded off the internet or bought from somewhere. And the only other thing than that was the fact that we had paid $50 to have someone make us Dogs of War custom biker vests for the Dogs of War in the city. And we spent, I think, $150 on an MLO that was the Dogs of War Biker Club, which we kept forever because it was just one that we had designed. I eventually had to go back through and customize it to have the logos in it properly because it looked like crap. I don't want to throw any hate, but he just wasn't, there was no effort. There was no trying. He was just there to get his money and get out and do as little work as he could to make his buck, which I understand a lot of devs do that. But for me, when I took over, I was wanting to make something that we could enjoy. I was trying to make it to where when people got in the city, they found stuff that they wanted to go out and do and they wanted to like. And I'm not going to lie, for the longest time, I was just pulling random junk off the internet and we were just throwing it in there.
Bro, you made simple things like, I don't know how many cities I fucking went to, and there was not a thing as such as a fucking wallet.
Yeah.
Your city had a fucking wallet where you could put ID cards and stash shit in. You know what I'm saying? Like,
And and the thing about that was one of the first scripts I had learned to work on. It was super basic. It was literally a crappy backpack script. And
yeah,
in the configuration, I renamed the items, and I found PNGs that were different colored wallets. There was a dusty brown one and a black one, and then I made the third one into a Pokemon card binder because I had thrown a Pokemon script in the city. But I just went through the configuration and made it to where they couldn't hold anything that was really heavy, so you could put literally any item that weighed
right.
0 pounds in it, like all the IDs and stuff. But you could also put shit in there that was just random. Like if you had an item that weighed 0, you could throw it in there too.
Photos, fucking all
Yeah.
kinds of shit.
Basically anything that you would think would fit in a wallet realistically, because it weighed
Right.
nothing. And I made that just because, like you said, when you play in a FiveM server, you got to go get a driver's license, an identification card, a weapons license, all this junk. That
Fishing
would be,
license.
yeah, this junk
hunting
would be just littering
license.
up your pockets for no reason. And when you have 6 slots filled up in your pocket, it's like, who's just gonna put 6 ID cards just laying around in their pocket? So I was like, get a wallet. That's better for
Right.
roleplay.
Right.
So when people would walk around, the cops could even stop you. And when you got arrested, they would open your wallet to get your identification card out of it and make sure you weren't hiding anything in it, because there would be a lot of people that would be like, "Oh, this thing weighs just enough to throw in my wallet." So they would just do that. And I know that like drugs and stuff would get thrown in there because they didn't weigh like light enough stuff that didn't weigh anything, illegal
Right.
items and stuff.
Right.
They would just throw in there like bank key cards that were stolen, used for robberies. They'd throw in there. And they try to play it off, and a lot of times they would, because it's just a purple card, so no one would notice, or a blue card or a red card, so they get
Right.
away with it. But yeah, I spent a lot of time working on the city and making it to where stuff that was little bitty things that were just thrown in randomly would somewhat work, or would totally work with what we were doing. Like I said, Pokemon card script. We added a ton of new guns once we figured out how to add guns into the city, so we had a ton of custom add-on
man.
guns. We had thousands of cars
Bro,
that were cool, and
the-
I even learned how to customize my own cars years later and build my own cars from scratch.
the drag strip.
The drag strip was an MLO that was free that we added in there because we had a pack of cars that we paid for that were drag cars that we had nowhere to do anything with them, and people were racing them on the streets or trying to run from the cops in them.
At
We were like,
300 miles per hour.
we're like, it's not realistic, and we want to try We want to try this realism roleplay push,
Right.
and you guys are running from the cops at 300 miles an hour, crashing and dying, and then we got to take you to the fucking hospital. And it was terrible for us. It was really bad. So we really wanted to push for that, and we were super, super harsh on not letting people get a hold of the box. So I was doing the 90% of the dev work. And
Yeah.
when we finally fired our dev, I pulled on Assassin Hero and my buddy Feelsby and my buddy Jenga. And we decided that we were going to take it over. And I was going to do a lot of the coding, and we were going to split it up to where one guy does the coding, and one guy does the clothes, and one guy does the cars. And we knew nothing about MLOs, so we didn't even try to mess with it because it was super complicated. But I learned from a good buddy of mine, W204 dude. He has his own FiveM community now, and he builds nothing but custom cars, and they are amazing. If you guys ever get the chance, go check out W204 dude and his toy factory. He makes super duper cool stuff. But he sat down to teach me how to work on cars so I could teach the other guys, and I did a 30-minute to an hour session with him, and he was like, there's not much I can teach you on this. You're already coming through and showing me how to do some things, because he was just starting at the time, and he was like, just go and start messing with stuff and take off from there. If you can't figure it out, just keep trying and learn it. So me and Luke and Jenga went and sat down and started working on it, and Feelsby went off to college, and he started doing his own thing, and we learned how to make liveries on cars and design them, and then we learned how to make clothes and take base models and just add textures onto them to make them what we wanted. We started putting our logos on everything and designing cool stuff like that.
Musty Marrow.
Yeah, he actually sat down, Assassin sat down and learned how to build cars a lot more than I did. I did it for a little bit, but he loved the building of the cars. He's a super big car guy, IRL, and he wanted to sit down and learn how to build cars from scratch and take other cars and combine them together. He took a 1968 Camaro and an older Mustang, I think a 1969 Mustang, and smashed them together and gave it the name Musty Marrow because it just
The
looked like a
Musty
hunk of
Marrow.
junk. And it was a Mustang Camaro, and it was super cool by the time
It
he
was
had gotten
badass.
close to being done with it. He just unfortunately never had the time to finish it. He built, I think, Demo Ranch. They made a Plymouth Cuda, a 70 Plymouth Cuda, and jacked it up off the ground, lifted it, put it on dually tires, and had a car like that. And he went in and made like an almost exact copy model of it in FiveM, and he fucking loved that car. He spent months building it. He absolutely loved it. And Jenga, he got into learning how to make the cars work for FiveM, and it got to the point where we realized he was taking and stealing things from our community and was using them elsewhere and trying to like hide them from us. So we ended up getting rid of him, and then I learned how to code religiously. I spent
Dude.
days being up for 24 hours plus
It was
making it
crazy.
to where
I don't know how many times I tried to call you and I could never get a hold of you. You was either sleeping or coding.
dude, I slaved away my whole life learning how to code, and I would spend days, hours. If I couldn't get something to work just right, I would try and try and try and push to get it done. And I worked super hard doing it. And it got to the point where I went and remodeled the city into Submersive RP 2.0. And we wiped everything out, started with a brand new fresh QB core base, spent $5,000 in all new MLOs and scripts and add-ons and additions and stuff, and just kind of dropped them in there as is and made a new city. So everything didn't really match, but it worked well together, and we got it flowing and cruising. And by that time, we had created a community that was big enough that we had new people in, and we were getting new people all the time. The Swedes were already there, and there was 6 or 7 of them. Squishy and his friend group came in with Lathana and Ramble and Demon and all of them. Foster was in there too, and Coffee. And we had, I don't know, probably like 10 other people that were just randomly from different places here and there that had joined, excuse me, and wanted to become a part of our community and start playing. And they were loving it. We had a ton of cops, and we had crims, and we had different gangs and mafias and cartels, and we had people that were supporting the community and getting stuff that they wanted put into the city. And it got to the point where everybody had their own cool custom stuff, and we were out making it, and we were designing things, and we were making people's dreams come true basically on all the stuff that they wanted to add. And we played there for a good bit, honestly, and I'm not trying to like jump the timeline too much, but we played in Submersive 2.0 for I think a year and a half, where I was the only person doing dev work and actually coding for the city, and we went through hundreds of scripts adding cool stuff to the city and then take it out, and MLOs to the city and then take them out, and cars into the city, and just built this massive car pack, and got some ones that were broken and some ones that were added, and we started building huge roleplay characters. That's when Kyle Danger really took off and became a prominent figure in the city. And he wasn't even my main character originally. He was just a cop character that I created to get some roleplay in. But that really sprung for me, and we kind of did a lot that was unexpected. And we grew, and we got hundreds of new people into the Submersive Discord, and people would come and they would go, and people would have little spats and they'd leave and come back, and it was really cool to get to meet everybody and interact with them in roleplay. But basically, I spent all of that time coding, and then we had some people that were breaking things, and I had to really learn how to get down to the nitty-gritty of it, and I had to push for making sure that there were no bugs in it. Because before, we would just drop something in and we'd mess with it and it would be cool, it'd be all that. And, if it had an issue here or there, we'd either take it out or do something different with it, or I'd go in and make little changes to it. But it got to the point where people were really, really breaking stuff. There was duplication of items,
Right.
and people were money glitching and like storing up hundreds and thousands of millions of dollars and just using it all the time. Or
Duplicating shit out of the trunk of vehicles.
we'd get people that would have businesses and they would just take complete advantages of their businesses and make millions off of it, or get whatever they wanted out of it. And it was really bringing down the community again, to the point where I then decided that I wasn't going to play as much. And that rolled me around to, I want to say, December of 24. And I met my fiance and I started hanging out with her constantly. We were just getting into the talking phase, and I spent a lot of time over there. And about a month after I had met her, I moved in with her to move out of my parents' house, and that way I could, open my life up to doing things for myself, and get away from being at home, because I'm still pretty young. I mean, I was only 22 at the time, and I had worked on the road with you doing construction for 2 years, and then I didn't have anywhere to go. I had just bought my own mini house and was building it, and it wasn't finished, and I had spent then 3 years playing games, and it wasn't the best choice, I'm not gonna lie, but I had a lot of fun because I opened up my streaming and broadcasting and playing games with my community, and that was really cool. Well, in December, I met with her, and about February, after I had moved in, I had decided that I was going to show her FiveM. Well, we got into playing, and there was a lot of things that needed changed, and there wasn't very many people around. So I went and started working a real job. I started working in the aerostructure industry, and time flew by. Like, it was ridiculous. And I went and started working there at about May, and up until June or July, the city was down. I basically shut it off. Nobody was playing in it. I wasn't paying for it anymore, so it was offline. So I found a new hosting service and decided that I was going to tear every bit of the skeleton out of our city and rebuild it. And I spent probably another $5,000, just myself personally. Like, my dad helped me the first time. I spent $5,000 myself rebuilding the city, and it took me until October of rebuilding everything. I got colors to match. I got themes on everything. I made everything have our logo on it for Submersive Reimagined, and everything got redone. I created an intro, and we wanted to bring the community back full swing. We wanted to have everybody get as hyped up as I was about rebuilding everything. So we got it as tight knit as we could. We worked out all the bugs as long as we could do it. We made sure that every single thing was running and that it was all cracked out, and we had perfect synchronicity between everything. Well, end of October happens. We launched the city. 20 people on the first day jumped in, and we were stoked. There was chases. There was people getting in role-playing for the first time.
Shit going
we
on.
had people coming back from the community that hadn't been there forever. We threw a big party. We had this big announcement that we were excited to have everybody back, and we were going to get things going again. And it was popping. And it popped off for, I think, 3 weeks. And then it slowly started to die back down again. We had about 10 people in the city consistently. There wasn't a lot going on. That was around Thanksgiving time. Was getting ready to be right around the corner. And people were doing more family support. And I know personally that around those holidays, the city died out super bad.
Yeah.
And it was because
Family
everybody was
shit.
spending time with their family.
Yeah.
So it's not like...
Respectably, yeah.
It's not like we didn't appreciate it or do anything like that, but after seeing it happen year after year after year, I knew what was coming. And early December, we did a little bit of Christmas stuff, and I was working constantly at this point, and I was on night shift, and I just could not keep up with the city. And that's December 24 rolling around into January 25, and when I hit my Christmas break, I think it was the 16th, I completely didn't do anything besides play other video games, because I'd spent so long working on the server that I wanted to take a break, and I
Right.
wanted to go and play my own games and have my own fun. Well, the city came due on the hosting service on the 22nd of December, and I didn't remember to
Yes.
pay it. And I had it set up on my PayPal, so I had to transfer the money to my PayPal in order to pay it, and I just forgot. Well, unfortunately for me, I didn't think about it, and around the 31st, I want to say, I got an email from them saying, hey, if you don't pay this, your server is going to get shut off. And after Christmas, I was flat broke. I'd spent my money on doing Christmas
Hell
things.
yeah, dude. Everybody's
And
flat broke after
everybody's
Christmas.
always flat broke.
Hell
And
yeah.
it was $60, $70, something like that, to get it turned back on to where we could play on it again. And I couldn't just pull it out of my butt and do something. I was working constantly, and it was another week and a half till I got my paycheck.
Right.
So I was like, I'm fucked. Like, I don't know what we're gonna do to get the server turned back on. I just paid all my bills. I just went through Christmas, and I didn't know what to do. And unfortunately, on January 6th, they wiped the entire server box.
Everything.
All of the work that I had done was destroyed. Anything that I didn't have saved on there, which is a lot of stuff. It was like probably 200 gigabytes of stuff that was on this server that I had just put on there and didn't have a lot of it on my computer, especially things that were paid for that only had access through Keymaster and stuff for the FiveM community was on there and just downloaded in and then edited on the box because we didn't need it on my computer. It was just on there. So that $5,000 worth of stuff that was on there disappeared. And
Oof.
all the work that I had put into it was gone. And we still had access to the scripts and stuff, but it threw me into a depression for a few days where I was like, all that hard work is gone. All of the time and money that I spent on doing this to build this thing that I love vanished. It was immediately eradicated, and there was nothing I could do about it. And I watched it slowly trickle away over those couple of days and was trying to figure out what I was going to do. So all of the work into coding and all of the work into that stuff that I had put my life into and I had spent years building and training myself how to do was gone in an instant. And it really hurt. So I decided that I still wanted to play games with people, but I was done playing FiveM. After that, I didn't want to find another city to play in where somebody, was trying their hardest to do it. It wasn't mine. It wasn't something that I was looking forward to doing every day. So I quit. I quit playing. And I know it really sucked for a lot of people, but for me, I just didn't enjoy playing in someone else's creation. I wanted to build something and create something that was my own. One second. So we went and we had ChatGPT create us some logos for Submersive Gaming, because that's what we were going to turn it into, as a gaming channel for our community, because everybody still played games. We created FiveM channels and Red Dead channels, and pretty much any game you could think of, we created a channel for in there. That way they could still get in and play as a group, and we created multiple channels of some, so that way people could get in there and play squads or duos or, play with their friends and have a good time. Well, I started working heavily. I know the place I was working at went into super bad overtime. I was working 12 hours a day, 5 days a week, and we were just busting our butts and constantly working. So I would come home on my night shift at 4 in the morning, go to bed, and not get up until noon, and then I would get ready for work and go to work to be at work for 2 in the afternoon and just go through that cycle of 12-hour shifts. And I was just going absolutely insane. And it was nightmarish. So I gave up on playing video games. I had already pretty much given up on streaming, and I wasn't really enjoying doing anything anymore. So me and my fiance pretty much just decided we were going to sit around a lot, and we got a little bit lazy, I'm not going to lie. I'd play games every now and then, but we mostly just sat around and talked with each other and played video games. I would talk to Mindless and stuff, and yeah, that's pretty much how I got out of the FiveM business. I don't do anything on it anymore.
And then I was like, hey, I want to start streaming. And you was like, hey, you know what? That sounds cool. You should do that. And
Yeah.
now look at you. You're back into streaming.
I was really supportive of that because I really wanted to see what you could do to build a community, because I know that you personally have a lot of personality for doing stuff like this, and you work really well and you talk really well with people after working on the road for 10 years, talking with people all over the country.
Dude. And that's like the worst too, because after the military, after being deployed, after just the military in general, like I have a small window of patience with people.
Yeah.
But if it needs to be, I can usually talk to people. I usually, I do pretty good. I hold my own.
The nice thing about being on the internet is you don't have to talk to people face to face, which I know you did a lot of. And for me, I wasn't ever good at talking to people face to face. I know in high school I was super shy and I had really bad social anxiety, and then I got into roleplay and it boosted me up. And now that I'm into streaming, I don't even have to talk to anybody. I can just be in there talking to myself all day long. I know I've talked a majority of this podcast already because I enjoy expressing myself, but I have a hard time doing it when I'm standing face to face with somebody because I get all up in my head and I start like, I'm not going to lie, most of this podcast, I'm looking at myself talking because it gives me, it makes me feel a little bit better that I don't have to look at somebody when I talk. So it's going to be,
I don't know.
It's an interesting thing to stream, and I'm glad that you're getting into it.
I don't mind it. Well, see, that's the thing, dude. Like, so I was I don't know. I grew up gaming. Like, I played Mario. I played, the first Nintendo. The
classics.
I grew up playing video games. I played sports too, and then I went to the Army. I got out of the Army, and then I went straight into, I was already in work mode because of the military, so I, went straight into work mode again. And built artificial turf sport complexes all over the U.S. For 10 years I did that. And I started helping Don run his company and help him and do his thing and earn his money. And it got to the point where I was just, I want to be home for my kids. I got 3 of them. I don't ever get to see them. I'm on the road all the time, on the road all the time.
Yeah, when you're on the road, dude, it's consistent, it's constant. You're working 7 days a week and you're gone for months.
And then I would only be home. And that's not the bad part. The bad part was I'd only be home for 3 days. 3 days, and then Don would call me, hey, you need to get on a flight and fly here. Or you need to go drive here.
Yeah, and then you'd be gone for months at a time again. I know, personally, we spent 5 months being away from home. We missed Christmas, or I missed Christmas for sure. And we missed tons of holidays where we were just on the road in the snow in Pennsylvania and Jersey. Because I think he let us go home for 2 days on actual Christmas. And I didn't even go anywhere. You guys threw a Christmas party. I didn't even get to go. I did not even get to go. I think I stayed home and slept.
Yeah. But I came home. I stopped working. You got me into RP, which honestly, I didn't even think I was going to be any good at roleplay.
You really were not into it at first. You did not even want to buy a PC.
No, I didn't. But, here I am. I built my own PC. I got into roleplay. I RP'd for a while, and then, I don't know, I watched people like Sheriff Strafe and shit like older people, and I'm just like, well, fuck, I'm 40 years old. I can still game. I can, fuck it, I want to stream, even if I don't become this big mainstream streamer, I'm gonna fucking do it because it looks fun. It looks like you get to meet new people, build a community, and that's what I was enjoying was building a community.
Yeah,
That's what I wanted to do, kind of like how you did with um, Submersive. I wanted to just build my own community. So
and yeah, and that's a big thing is the reason I actually wanted to build Submersive so big was because my dad originally started role playing and he created. Actually, I don't even want to start there. I want to start with my dad really got into the community driven aspect of gaming with Elder Scrolls Online when it first came out. He ran into this group of people that were playing Elder Scrolls, and they were called the Dogs of War. And originally, it was created by a guy named Chad Brislaw, and he was an IRL bike motorcycle club that was called
yeah,
the Dogs of War.
the Dogs of War.
And he created it on Elder Scrolls because he had a bunch of buddies that he gamed
Yep.
with, and they hopped on there and made the Dogs of War guild, and were playing with each other on there, so that way they could be a group and they could share resources with each other. They ended up growing that community to, at one point, 1,000 people were playing Elder Scrolls on that. They would run with
I think it was
so
more
many.
than that. It was more than
It
that.
probably was. I know for sure.
Dude,
I knew there was
when
1,000.
me and your dad was running with them, I think we were at least 1,500 deep, maybe 2,000 deep. There was a lot of
There
fucking
was
people. So many.
And my dad got into playing RP at that time. He played a lot of Elder Scrolls for I think a year, maybe 2 years, and then he found Mixer when Mixer came out, and he started watching people playing Elder Scrolls on there, and they were role playing. And the reason they were role playing was because they were playing FiveM, and they were role playing. And he got into watching people like Bad Codes and Trav Piper and people like that were on there that were either Bad Codes was running his own city, and he had just started with Deadly RP, and Trav was playing in there too, and those guys were like massive streamers on Mixer for the most part, and they were playing their games and doing their role play. And he decided that he wanted to do GTA RP, and he started applying with whitelist applications to these cities, and he wanted to go in there and make the biker group Dogs of War,
Right.
and get on there and see if he could pull people over from the ESO community. And nobody from the ESO community really came over, but my dad got so into it that he started meeting people on there and building the Dogs of War Biker Club, which ended up getting, in one city, I think it had 50 to 100 members in it. And it was massive, and there was people coming and going. I think he ended up coming down to like 25 people who consistently played with him. And when they would move city to city, they would go with him everywhere. And when he finally decided to make Submersive with me, we wanted to build a community on there and have the Dogs of War as the main group of people on there. And he ended up buying the rights to the Dogs of War and being able to make their logos his and getting the copyrights for all that stuff, so that way he could have Dogs of War as his own community. And we made Submersive as our own community, and we came up with that name on a whim. It does not have a meaning. It has no actual meaning to it. Submersive is submersed or submerged, and we added a prefix onto it to give it like its own word, basically, so it wouldn't blend with no other FiveM city would have it. That way you could find us easy. And Submersive ended up taking on like its own little meaning because I don't know, it just had that edge to it where people liked the name of it, and we really liked the name of it, and we created a lot of stuff around it. I mean, I can't tell you how many things I branded that were Submersive,
Right.
just because we had
Yeah.
the logo and we had the name, and we could just put it on everything.
Yeah.
I made drinks with it, and cars with it, and racing clubs with it, and all sorts of shit, because he was building his community, I wanted to build my own and make my own stuff. And he had Dogs of War, so I was making my own thing, and we were Submersive. And I really enjoyed that. And then that took off into me wanting to stream because I was playing the game so much. And we went from playing Game of Thrones, or not Game of Thrones, we were playing Ark Survival with my dad's buddy, and we were making a Game of Thrones server and learning how to roleplay on it. And Submersive was getting ready to come around at that time, and we were playing Ark, and we were playing GTA RP, and we just got into the throes of wanting to make content because we were out there playing and watching other people who were making their own content. So I made my own streaming channel, and I made my dad watch it every single time I started streaming. I'd make him play it in the
Right.
background. I'd make my mom play it in the background. I'd turn it on a TV in the living room when no one else was watching it. I'd send it to you guys and make you guys get on and watch it. And eventually, I just started to grow my community slowly from my family members and people who were in the Submersive community, which was really small at the time. But yeah, I really wanted to get you into streaming because it helped me build a community of people I enjoyed playing games with. And I want to help you build a community of people you enjoy playing games with. I mean, you met Juan, and he is the coolest, dude.
Juan's the
Juan
best.
is so cool.
Shout outs to Paging Dr. Juan. That dude.
Paging Dr. Juan on Twitch, man.
He is the best. I was scrolling on Twitch one day, and it was like, streamers you may like, or whatever, and I was like, okay. So I started, like, scrolling through. He was, like, the fourth one over. And I was like, Paging Dr. Juan. And it clicked in my head. I was like, dude, that's like Paging Dr. Dre, the song from Eminem. And I was like, that's cool. And so I jumped in there, and I don't know, man. He just seemed really cool. He seemed like a good cat. And
his vibes are immaculate.
Next thing I know, we started talking and bullshitting, and it just seemed like a couple days later, it just seemed like, well, fuck, we've known each other forever. Like, even though we haven't, but we click like that. And
Juan's really good about that with people. He's
a good people person. Fuck yeah,
he's a great people person, and his community supports him wholeheartedly. And he has always got the most immaculate vibes. He's showing love to everybody, and everybody's showing love back to him. So it just gets reciprocated super well.
Oh yeah.
I mean, shoot, Juan came into the stream and gifted out 5 community subs to Beat My Box, Scorantino, that one commenter, Savage Cloud, and Dantex. So you guys got to see some of the love that Paging Dr. Juan shows to our community as well.
Speaking of,
super cool. Is he streaming now?
I think so.
Heck yeah. Well, it's 8 o'clock, so
yeah.
But I say it's about 9 o'clock where he is probably because he's EST, so he'll be streaming now. But yeah, I think
be starting soon, anyways.
I think that pretty much covers what we wanted to talk about for this first podcast, and we're a little over an hour now. So I want to say mostly thank you guys for listening to us, and thank you guys for watching on Twitch. We really appreciate it. You'll be able to find this uploaded on Monday on the Submersive Podcast YouTube channel. The link can be found down below. It's Submersive Podcast on YouTube. So if you guys want to go check it out, hit that subscribe button, show it to your friends, share the YouTube video, give it a like, go down below and comment on it. That'd be sweet. Like I said, it'll be out on Monday. We're going to be able to be found on Saturdays. Probably not every Saturday, but there will be announcements. But keep an eye out for us on Saturdays.
Most Saturdays. 99% Saturdays.
Yeah, every week probably on Saturdays. We'll be here streaming on Twitch, on Lord Commander Jorgen's Twitch channel. And you guys will be able to find the Submersive Podcast on Mondays on the Submersive Podcast YouTube channel. So that is going to be where you guys can find us.
And don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, share, blow this up.
We are really wanting to put ourselves out there. I do want to go ahead and one more time give a shout out to Mindless Kills on Twitch, Paging Dr. Juan on Twitch, and the Submersive Podcast YouTube channel, because we are really trying to grow those guys. If you haven't already, hit that follow button. Hit us with a follow. That way you can come back and find the Submersive Podcast on Saturdays. And thank you guys for watching. Submersive Podcast.
Check us out tomorrow. You going to be there tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm going to be there tomorrow. We're going to be playing Rainbow Six Siege for Siege Sunday Madness. Let's go,
Sunday
baby.
Madness. Fuck yeah. I'll be starting about 9 a.m. I know you'll probably join in later.
9 a.m. CST.
Yeah, Central Standard Time, whenever. But that's when I'll be starting. So you guys are more than welcome to join us.
Yeah, but again, thanks everybody for listening, and we are out of here. Thank you guys. Have a good one.